Welcome to the podcast, Penny Barber.
Thank you for having me.
We have talked many times. We've obviously worked together many times, but this is our first time meeting in person.
A fun fact about myself. Oh, God, what's fun about me? Usually I just say I do adult media.
Well, it's going to help contextualize a lot of what we're going to discuss today, for sure.
Oh, God, what's a fun fact about me? I don't know. Like, I was a pro wrestler for a while, and I was, like, on my team captain. I fucking wrote a couple of books on age play. I mean, so a lot of my earliest fantasies would form from, like, nightmares that I would have, but that were, like, interesting.
Yeah.
Like... You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm almost 40 now. I'm just gonna tell you.
I'm 42, so hit me.
Cool.
Hit me with it.
A lot of my like earlier fantasies were about. I was in a treehouse with Beetlejuice, and he would like tie me up and like do and it was important to me that he was like a monster, you know, kind of a thing. But then there's also a lot of fetishism. Like another thing that I really liked was like I just had this recurring fantasy, just like something I just really liked thinking about was two young ladies in school uniforms. They had to be green, and they had to be sitting on, you know how like in Madeline and all the like old books, like they just have like rows of beds in the girls' rooms. I really eroticized those rows of just like sleeping women. And so they
I'm so fascinated. Please keep going.
They had to be in one of those rooms, and they had to be sitting on the same bed together, painting each other's toenails red. And I was just like, that was very important to me. And that's what I thought sex was. And I was right in a way. But yeah, it got weird. You know how they say that like men are more visually stimulated than women? Well, okay, great. Well, if a guy is like 99% visually stimulated and I'm like 92% visually stimulated, I'm still really fucking visually stimulated. You know what I mean? Like I still like a pretty face. I still like, you know, a nice body and all that stuff. So
yeah.
Actually, my masturbation ritual has changed since COVID. So I used to like just jerk off. Like I'd go find some images or something that I liked, look something up. Usually something kind of like fetishy and incesty, or, you know, I'd do a side-by-side again, because it's hard to get both. You know, there's not a lot of like, oh, you know, mommy's going to wear fishnets.
Right.
There's not a lot of that. So I would do that, and then I would just like lie on my bed, Hitachi magic wand, and do my thing. And then, you know, COVID happened, and my husband's always around the house, and it's, you know, the Hitachi's not quiet. He knows what I'm doing. So now when I masturbate, it's usually like a group activity. Like he'll come into the room, and I'm less comfortable looking at porn in front of him. Like sometimes I'll still kind of do it, you know. But also I don't want him just like sitting there staring at me while I'm finding something. Is probably like when I'm actually doing it, that's fine. But it's the looking up process that can be a little bit weird, or if I want to switch halfway through. So now he'll just kind of like lie next to me and like hold me while I do it. Sometimes he'll like play with my breasts or something while I do it, or like play with my nipples, or sometimes he'll like jerk off a little bit, just he's not really trying to come or anything. It's just like, because I like to watch him do it.
Yeah.
And so I'll get my little live sex show out of him. And, you know, it's usually pretty quiet. And then right towards the end, when he can tell it's going to happen, he'll just start saying things like either really fucked up stuff that I'll ask him to say, or he'll just be very encouraging. Like, you know, yeah, come, baby, come. And I'm like, all right, you don't mind if I do. And yeah, so that's my routine now. The biggest red flags are when people don't think through how to make things happen, you know, because like we all have fantasies, but, you know, they'll just like pitch something and I'll be like, great, how are we going to do that? And they expect you to do it for them, or they don't know, and it just falls apart right there. So people who don't really think things through is definitely a big red flag for me. How do I approach consent within my relationships? You know, I haven't really had a lot of problems with it. I don't feel like consent is difficult. And when people act like it's really difficult, I'm like, are you okay? You know, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because like I did like, when I was younger, but, it was the culture I had lived in. And it wasn't that I didn't understand. It was just that, the standards weren't there and it wasn't like expected of me. I didn't expect it of myself. And now I'm like horrified, like, why would you do that? And thank God I don't think I hurt anybody. But it's real easy to just ask somebody, and it's hot too, because it's just more dirty talk. Like if you go up to someone, you're like, oh, can I kiss you? Or like, oh, you're so beautiful. Can I touch you or something? It's, we make this big deal about like consent is sexy, and it's kind of comes off as a little twee sometimes, but it is, it's like if someone's like really into it and they're really wanting and they're horny and, they're expressing that. And yeah. And as for when something doesn't go well, I have never had trouble making it known to a partner that I don't want something. And I don't know if you do have trouble. If you do have trouble making it known to a partner that you don't want something, I'd say it's more an issue with the partner than with the person doing the communication.